I'm not doing this again, man. We are not going another week without giving out this damn lunchbox. Somebody just go. Have y'all never seen The Price is Right? Where something comes out and the person goes 578. The next person goes 579. The next person goes 600. And then the other person comes in and goes $1 and they win. I'm just saying, consider that. Oh, good Lord. Welcome to show 172. Bringing you back to the unfiltered, unedited, uncensored, commercial-free Sharks podcast that is the Pucknologist here on Teal Town, USA. Good Lord, the week started off so well and ended so yikes. Tell me I'm wrong. Oh, sucked. But first, if you're new to the podcast, remember to subscribe, follow us on social media if you want to join on YouTube. And I can't. I don't even have the will to do this. All right. If you're not watching live on YouTube, make sure to add your take to the comment section below this video. Give this video a thumbs up. As always, we're not here to change your mind, only here to offer our thoughts. And yes, we are going to announce a goddamn winner of this lunchbox if it kills me. Dude, where are we at? Oh, dude, that shirt. Love it.
Hell yeah.
Love it.
You know what? To answer the question on the shirt, a lot of people did say it.
Someone say Game 7? Ah, what a crappy week.
Well, it wasn't
Started off
all...
great. I don't know.
It wasn't terrible. I mean, it wasn't great, but...
It went off a cliff.
And you know what? Okay, to interrupt. So there is no controversy. I found the winner. So there is a winner.
Oh, thank God.
There is a winner. There was a little bit of controversy. I couldn't find the original message, but we got it. So nothing's in danger. Nothing is fucked.
You have receipts.
I do. It was not where I thought it was, but we found it. Just like the Sharks power play.
Oh, so to everybody watching or listening, we're gonna give away the lunchbox tonight. We will announce a name, and we will also announce the details later in the show on how to pick up one of those. What do we got here? The 49ers jersey.
There it is.
So if you're interested in that, we'll send it. We'll pop the details on in just a little bit for that. But let's get into your weekly wrap up of Sharks hockey. 3 games this week. They went 1-2-0 against the Knights, Wings, and Rangers through 20 games. And we are going to get into report cards now that we're at the quarter pole. Sharks are 6-11-3 with 15 points, currently 7th in the Pacific Division.
Hell yeah.
And right where we want them, baby.
Yeah, we got them right where we want them.
And somehow have figured out how to drop from 27 to 31st in the entire league by points percentage. Hell yeah.
And you know what? I know there's a lot, and we talked about it before, there's a lot of conversation of, be last. You got to get Bedard. Here's the thing. The consensus top 3 going into next summer are all immaculate prospects. Like, as long as the Sharks are no higher than 30th, they'll be okay.
And
so it's fine. You can allow for a couple of wins.
You can allow. Feel free to pick up a W once in a while. It's okay.
All I'm saying is, you know what? They could lose every remaining game of the season, and I would not care as long as they win when I'm at the game.
Oh, and is that why you... they did not get the jerk bump Tuesday, but somehow still pulled it out. What happened?
Well, so, yeah, I couldn't go to the game for obvious reasons, and so... we thought there was going to be an issue there, but a friend of the show, Jessica, was there.
Oh, that's true.
And so no jerk bump, but there was a Jess bump.
Oh, all right.
And so it worked out.
Collateral damage.
And yeah, we collaborated. I told him, like, hey, you really gotta give 110% here, and it worked out.
Nice. So the excuse me, that game in Vegas wrapped up, I believe, a 4-game roadie. You got Reimer starting his 3rd straight. Just like we talked about last week, man. It was Rime time. It was time for him to take over that blue paint. This one was a fun one. A lot of special teams worked out. You know, Sharks 50% on the power play, 100% on the PK. That's the way to win.
Yeah, I mean,
many people are saying.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like this game. I know, like you look at the 5-2 score, right, and you're like, wow, that is awesome. You know, because again, Sharks fans are they're much more attached to the Vegas rivalry than Vegas fans are.
Oh, okay.
And
I was like, choose your words carefully here. I don't know what you're about to say, but it could be interesting.
You know, the rivalry is much more of a thing to Sharks fans, and I think for obvious reasons. But you know, you look at the score and you're like, yeah, 5-2, like we stomped our rivals and it was awesome.
Well,
but
not only
2 empty netters and the game winner was kind of a goofy goal.
Yeah, exactly. So context is everything. But to go back to your point as well, it's like you look at that score. Hell yeah, we stomped but the thing is, the Sharks win this game. We're like at the bottom, and Vegas was clearly at the top. So all of Vegas people, oh, it doesn't really matter. There's not really a rival there or anything like that. Okay, that's fine. But wouldn't you think at the very least, like, you're the best team by record in your division and you can't beat the worst one? That kind of says something.
Yeah, but I think any given, you know, every dog has their day, right?
Oh, sure.
And I think at the end of the day, look at us crapping all over a win. At the end of the day, you know, Vegas is number 3 in the NHL for a reason, right?
Absolutely. And, you know, look, don't tell me that these teams don't get up to play each other. And I'm not buying it. Some Vegas players or whatever, or whoever, I forget what it was, but there was some sort of media thing that said, you know, is this still rivalry? And it's like, no, not anymore.
I mean, it would be, excuse me, it would be a rivalry if the matchups were competitive.
Yeah.
And I guess you could make a convincing argument that Tuesday's matchup was competitive. I mean, it was, you know, a tight scoring affair until the very end. But again, like you said, you know, it's not a rivalry unless it's competitive. And you know, yeah, the Sharks got the win, but again, got killed in the faceoff.
12th time they'd given up a non-empty net goal with less than 2 minutes left in a period.
Right. They had over double the amount of giveaways that the Golden Knights had.
And somehow still picked up a win.
I was going to say the redeeming quality here, there's actually 2. Number 1, it's the fact that the power play was 1 for 2. You know, they've actually, you could make a convincing argument that the power play made a difference in the game for the right reason, you know, which is not something the Sharks could have done all that much the last few years, but that's obviously positive. And then number 2, and I know you have it written down, I know you're going to bring it up. The Sharks have been carried by their big players, right?
Oh,
and that's not always something that's happened since they've been missing the playoffs on a regular basis.
I mean, like you said earlier, dude, so many turnovers, so many giveaway. The Cechek had a giveaway in the neutral that led to the Eichel goal. It wasn't great. And then there was a lot of starfish defensive posture this week, to the point that even Reimer got in on the fun. I mean, are you kidding me? Dude, that was so hellaciously bad. Even Reimer post game was just like, yeah, I'm not really sure what I was thinking there. I clearly am not as fast as I think I am. Poor guy. For me, though, let's get into a couple of clips here because, dude, the fact that this is one of the reasons that it's like it's so easy to hate you, Vegas. You make it easy because some of the guys on your team, wow, and it happens to be Marchessault most of the time. It just does. But here's a clip of Marchessault because they were bitching about not. I mean, here we go again. Vegas bitching about the officiating. Wow, I haven't heard this story before. But check out this play, dude. Or not the play, but just what happens, and just watch Marchessault's reaction and tell me if it isn't delayed.
This should have been called first. He thought this was a penalty defensively by Mario Ferraro. I think that's a good defensive play. Knocks the stick out of his hand, trying to take the body. I don't think he even got him in the face.
Yeah, I don't think he got him in the face either. It's like Marchessault felt the breeze of a glove go by, and then you see the reaction like a second or two later. Goes, oh, I got to act like I got hit in the face, so I should probably whip my head back a little.
Well, and you remember, I know there, especially around the time when the pandemic was sort of raging at its worst, there were multiple we'll call them situations where Marchessault being a weasel and selling it like that was a conversation. And so I look at this and it's like, it doesn't surprise me just because of the history, but I'm also kind of like, it's just funny more than anything, like I think anybody who would look at that and get upset and be like, oh my God, stop selling it. Like, I think you're wasting your breath. I think you just like, if I'm on the Sharks and I see him being a weasel like that, I honestly would just laugh and then turn around.
Yeah. It's just, that's your rep, bro.
Right.
just go.
And again, like we said, it goes beyond the ice too, the whole, calling people out on Instagram. Like it's very juvenile behavior.
Oh, dude, that Instagram meltdown was one for the ages. Another interesting thing that happened this week was, did Erik Karlsson not have the right skates this week? I don't know. Last couple of games. Let's look at this.
Take you back to Sunday's game in Minnesota. Here's what happened. Karlsson falls, and the Wild go down and score a goal. Fortunately, the Sharks came back down from 2-0 then and won the game. Tonight, Erik Karlsson back skating, same situation. Falls, but James Reimer comes up with the save.
James Reimer coming up with one of those rare saves this week.
Well, and you know what? And I think to his credit, with I think he said that in Minnesota, the ice wasn't the best, which, it happens.
Oh, sure.
But
you would think Minnesota, if you're going to find good ice, probably going to be around there.
You'd think, but I mean, there's always, it like any given day, the ice could be screwed up anywhere, right?
David Ayres took an extra lap. Right.
But like in Vegas, right? Like he even said, he was like, I don't know what happened. Like he had no idea. But to his credit, you saw in that clip, he kind of was able to chop the puck towards the boards as he was falling down. And I think the fact that he was able to do that, I think, is a big reason why I believe it was Magna was able to get back and Reimer was able to get set for the shot that was coming, just because of that little sort of desperation defensive play, if you will, that kind of helped it out there.
Yeah. Let's move on. I mean, that was fun. To get a win over Vegas is always fun. But Detroit, what the hell happened in this one, man? Oh, I mean, now I get it. Detroit comes in. They're pissed off. They've lost 4 straight, and it doesn't. I don't want to say get easy, but you have to be. You're coming in. You've lost 4 straight. You're not playing that well, and then Erik Karlsson does this to you.
To be drafted in the first round. Here's a chance for LeBanc, and he scores. Kevin LeBanc with the first goal of the game, and it's 1-0 Sharks.
Well, we had dinner tonight. I called Kevin LeBanc as the first goal. This is Timo Meier. Good puck control through the traffic. Cuts back. Sees Karlsson coming off the bench. Throws it, grabs it, pulls it down. This pass is another beauty from Karlsson. Nice job by Tomas Hertl providing that little bit of screen in front. But what a look there from Karlsson, who always seems to find the one guy that's open. This time it happens to be LeBanc, and he buries it.
Kevin LeBanc with his 3rd goal to go along with 5.
Dude,
that was gross. Like
that's play of the year.
Oh yeah,
like, there's no way they're topping that.
Well, just the fact. I mean, everybody's talking about how he kind of chopped it back behind, between his legs to LeBanc, which is no doubt impressive. But I'm just kind of looking at the fact that he caught it in midair, threw it in front of him, and still corralled it to where he could smack it back between his legs. Like the whole play with I feel like if you asked him about that, I feel like he would tell you that that's how he drew it up.
Oh, dude. Quinn is behind the bench going, maybe we put that in the playbook there, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Might be the play. And, I mean, dude, it's a 7-4 loss. Like, everything started off well for the Sharks, including that. Hell, Nieto scored one-handed. And
yeah, I couldn't believe that.
Jerk fell off his couch.
That was...
You had to have been sitting there going, this fucking guy, what?
Well, and he did it 2 games in a row. So I'm like, now I was like, who are you? Like, what have you done with Matt Nieto?
But they fell asleep in the second, and that's all she wrote. Like I said, man, Reimer with the starfish defensive posture. What are you doing, man? Do we got to get a length of rope and tie it to one of the moorings? I mean, good Lord. But if you thought that Erik Karlsson was like in on every goal, it's because he was. Like literally, this shift chart is insane. 11 goals were scored in this game, and I think he was on the ice for 9 of them. Good Lord.
Hey, you know what? Guy makes a difference, positive and negative.
Oof. Yeah, but Reimer going starfish, that was ridiculous. I don't even know what the hell that was. But I don't know. It was a good first, a sleepy second, and just an insanely sloppy third. But
yeah,
that's
like the wheel, and like you said, the wheels completely fell off, right? I mean, the Reimer one kind of really stands out, but I think what makes this such a boot to the groin is the fact that like bang bang Couture Karlsson and is tied up, and you're thinking like, oh man, like this team's not dead yet, right? and then it all just kind of like as soon as it sort of kind of blew up in the Sharks' favor, it blew up in their face, and it was over as quick as it started.
Well, dude, I mean, you couldn't even hang the first couple on Reimer. It's like Larkin scores, it pinballs in off Perron's skate. What are you going to do? It's a fluke. Then Wallman fires one through 3 guys. There's no way Reimer's picking that up with all that screen in front of him. But then EK65 scores off of a player's ass.
Hey, again, I bet you he drew it up that way.
Dude. He's like, nah, I'm going to use all the faculties that I have. Dude, I'm scoring any which way but loose. A lot of people on social, though, were ripping Hetty for complaining that the Sharks weren't getting enough calls. It seems like anybody with a red jersey that got remotely close to a Shark player, it's like, oh, how come that's not a call there? It happens.
Well, yeah. What are you going to do, right?
14,134 is the attendance. I was told, that there was a lot of red. For some reason, the Red Wings travel really well to SAP, and I don't know why that is, because I never see Red Wings fans in this, and never see a Detroit jersey, any swag. But goddamn if they don't like coming to San Jose when they're in town.
Well, and you know what? And here's the other thing. And maybe, I'm willing to acknowledge that maybe this is a bit anecdotal, but I kind of feel like, and I know I don't want to say a handful, but I know a few people who fit into this category. Like, I feel like there's a lot of Red Wings fans that live in San Jose, or at least in the Bay Area. And I couldn't tell you why that is. I don't have a good answer for you, but it's something that I've kind of observed, just kind of out in the wild and talking to people. And, I don't know. Again, I don't know if there's anything to that, but, it's something interesting, I think.
Where the hell are they hiding, though? Like, I don't get it, because there's... Oh, man, I'm trying to remember where it was. I want to say it was like in San Mateo. It was somewhere on the peninsula, but there was a bar that was specific for Chicago fans. Whether you're, the Cubs, the Bears, whatever, they were your hookup.
Mm-hmm.
To my knowledge, there is no Detroit bar in the Bay Area, but yet they come out, man. I don't get it.
Yeah, and again, I don't know, like, obviously, like, I don't, my my recollection of San Jose obviously only goes back so far, but, I'm wondering if, maybe in some kind of industry, there's, was some form of like mass sort of migration to the Bay Area from Michigan. I don't know. I can't say, but, I know at least, like I said, I think I know at least 3 or 4 people live in the Bay Area that are Red Wings fans. And again, maybe that has a lot to do with, oh, well, when I was a kid, they were winning cups, and so that's who I picked. And I think that's fine, but kind of interesting that, it's something that's relatively frequent,
Is it cheaper to go to SAP, to fly to SAP than to catch a game at the dojo? I don't know.
That could be a thing.
Alden saying all these Detroit fans have been coming to games since they were in our division. Yeah, dude, I'm telling you. I see a couple guys wearing the wing nut hats and everything. I'm like, man, where do you hide this the other 364 days of the year?
Well, and I wouldn't bet, and somebody would have to confirm this for me, but I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of those Red Wings fans are Sharks season ticket holders.
Oh.
And this is going way off topic, but I've actually thought about
do here.
But I've kind of living obviously in an NHL city that's not my NHL team. I've thought about getting season tickets for the Golden Knights and then just selling the tickets to every game that's not against the Sharks, and hoping that the collective profits would ostensibly pay for the games against the Sharks.
Yeah, no, I've played that game before.
Yeah,
like found a tour that was coming through, an artist, and bought 4 tickets, sold 2 for enough to cover my tickets.
Right.
Yeah, it's good if you can make it happen.
and that's the thing, and we know the way the NHL is now, right? Giveaways and theme nights and rivalries and playoff implications, all that kind of stuff. You could positive and negative, you can see ticket prices surge pretty quickly.
I feel like you're trying to say it's a finesse.
Absolutely.
With Detroit in town, the local scribes caught up with former Sharks bench boss Bob Boughner. Now, I could sit here and read you the articles that Sheng and Pashelka wrote, but instead I will just tell you, go check them out if you want to learn more.
Yeah, we love those guys.
In what I just said, we're going to get into that in a little bit. We're going to cover that a little bit harder in a scotch. But the last game, oh my God, a 2-1 loss to New York. 5th straight start for Reimer. I'm not sure if he's going to get the next one, and I'm not putting any of this on Reimer because the entire team just sucked ass. They were Quinn said they sucked. They were slow. They were soft. I mean, dude, you allowed 43 shots on goal. And I don't understand why the Sharks continue to be so bad at home. I don't get this. They did sell out, qualifies as a sellout. But I was there. There was some empty, but remember, it's tickets distributed, not tickets sold. But either way, it was a sellout. But remember, it's a Saturday. It's against the New York Rangers, and we got a jersey giveaway and the whole 49er thing. Let's. I was
gonna say that's kind of the hat trick for surging tickets.
Yeah,
sales, right?
To fill a building. Yeah. So let's see how Ottawa does tomorrow.
Yeah, especially Ottawa on a Monday. Like that is kind of like that's sort of the kiss of death the other way. You know,
bit of a dick punch. But that's the way it would all end. Although, let's get into some comments from Quinn after New York. The dude was feeling it.
Yeah, well, that felt different. I thought we sucked in the third period. I mean, I thought they beat us to every loose puck. I thought they out-battled us. I thought they out-competed us. I thought our puck management wasn't great all night long, but we were at least hanging around in the first 2 periods. Took some penalties that put us behind the 8 ball. You give that team a power play, and they certainly can turn the tide on you, and we survived it. But just real disappointed how we played in the third period. I mean, to me, that's as bad as we've played since the Islander game. That being said, I want to take it away from them. I thought they were good tonight. They were quick. They were on pucks. They competed. and we weren't. And, one of the reasons they looked as fast as what they did is we didn't compete hard enough. We didn't win enough battles and didn't get into people. Yeah, it was just but really it wasn't just one guy. I thought our group of forwards didn't have a great night tonight. I thought we were slow. I thought we were indecisive with the puck. We were hesitant. There wasn't any puck movement. We didn't complete passes the way we have. It was just a bad night for us, And again, they played well. I think obviously some of it had to do with the way they played, but it was disappointing.
I like the part where he almost said, "The Rangers aren't that fast. We were just that slow." I was like, "You go on, Quinn." I dig it. So, we've learned that, when the Sharks play their style, when they outwork and out-hustle and outthink the other team, they can be successful. But once that goes out the window, so does any chance of victory. It's not great. But, hey, they did have a 3-game win streak and 3 straight come-from-behind wins, including a win that was over the top team in the West. So you got to feel about that because, dude, look at who they have beaten. They did beat the Rangers in overtime in New York. They shut out Philadelphia, and at that time, Philly was rolling. And that was in Philly. Then an OT win against Toronto. They beat Dallas, who's at the time top of their division. You got a shootout versus Minnesota, and then they beat VGK. All those teams had winning records at the time that those games were played, and then you look at how many one-goal games that they've lost. 10 of 14 losses have been by 1 goal when you toss out the empty netters, because those don't count against the goalie. Mm-hmm. But god damn, just a little puck luck, and all of a sudden, the Sharks are in 4th, maybe 3rd place.
Well, I think there's a lot to it, right? Obviously a little bit of puck luck to your point, but then also just the fact that there's a lot of elements of this lineup, again, like we've talked about all along, the bottom 6 and the blue line where it's just not good, right? And so yes, I do. I am with you about the puck luck. I think if the puck luck is there, obviously the Sharks are going to have improved results. But at the same time, if those 2 elements I just mentioned, if they were just a little bit better, I think you see something different as well, right? And I've been bitching about it all week. So if you've heard this before, I'm sorry. But, Couture and Barabanov is a really good second line. Why Nieto there? You know what I mean?
But Fucker scored twice.
Somehow, and we debated that a good chunk of last week's show, right? But it just makes you wonder, man, if the third person on that line was just a little more offensively inclined, we'll say, how many of these very impossible Barabanov, dekes and passes would yield something.
Well, I'll tell you, if Bordelot has another game like he had earlier today,
yeah, no kidding.
If he has a couple more of those, he may just be banging down the door going, "Hey, Neats, grab a seat, pal."
Here, I was keeping this warm for you.
So, God, just a little bit of puck luck, but they have beaten solid teams. It's not like they're beating up on Anaheim. In fact, they lost twice to Anaheim.
Somehow. Right?
So, I congratulate Ottawa on their win tomorrow already. What are we playing, Arizona? Oh, and don't think that we've forgotten. I have the screenshot somewhere. I know Jerk does too. December 13th, we're coming for you, man. There was somebody who came in on the chat, on the YouTube chat, and said, if the Sharks, what was it? It's either if Arizona beats San Jose or San Jose beats Arizona, dude was throwing $50 at us. So,
and you know what's funny? And I don't, obviously I remember the comment, but I don't remember who posted the comment. But my recollection tells me that at the time they were a new watcher. So I could, wouldn't it be just funny if they were just some random person, not even looking for the show, and they're like, "Oh, who the fuck is this guy?" I'm just gonna throw it in there.
Oh man, Swift Shark 13.
Yeah, that's not it. I haven't seen that name for a while, but that doesn't mean they're not out there.
Yeah, that was you. That was you, Swift Shark 13. If we lose to
you?
Arizona,
This you?
exactly. We lose to Arizona, I will donate $50 to the podcast. We're watching you, buddy. Maybe he jotted it down on his calendar and he's like, okay, I guess I got to log into that following Sunday. So all right. Let's just get to this whole Erik Karlsson thing before I lose my mind.
Hey, did you hear that there's a new article that came out? 31 teams the Sharks should trade Erik Karlsson to.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Just only 31 though.
Yep, just 31.
Seems small. So, the NHL, NHL.com, whatever. Sharks will listen to trade offers for Erik Karlsson, says GM. I mean, you might as well, dude, the headline could literally be like, barista serves coffee. Like that's what, isn't that what he's supposed to do?
Well, that's like, if
it's like GM does job. But I want to know, was there a GM one day that said, hey, I'm just about to tee off on the back nine, so I'm not listening to offers today. Maybe hit me up tomorrow.
Well, and similar to that, I had heard this piece of information. If you go to the gas station, you can put gas in your car. Do you know that?
See, now, have you confirmed this?
Here's the thing. And I think the reason why it's kind of like the sexy sort of headline, if you will, is because it's seldomly talked about, in the public sphere. But here's the thing, and I tweeted this out, and AJ and I actually even talked off camera about this too. Every GM listens on everybody all the time ever.
Yeah,
I don't know how I can be more clear.
Yeah, the phone rings, you pick it up.
We we love, obviously, Timo Meier, big fan of Timo Meier, want him to re-sign and be part of the future. But if Team X came in and said, hey, for Timo Meier, we'll give you 100 first-round picks, where do I sign? You know what I mean?
But at the he's not. The point being, though, is that when Grier picks up the phone and the guy on the other end starts off with, so Timo Meier, it's not like Grier goes, oh, sorry, click, wrong number, who dis?
Mm-hmm.
He's going, yeah, okay, Timo, what do you got to say about him? Yeah. How many more clickbait pieces of content will we be subjected to if Karlsson continues at this, ridiculous pace that he's on? It's just, but stick taps to Kostanica, who, from what I understand, wrote the article. I mean, brother, you need to have dinner paid for you. You need to be tipped out in your tip jar. Because wow, did you do work for a lot of people this week? Wow.
Well, and that's the thing, right? It was, the story was very much a false flag, right? And
but it gave everybody. It's like, oh, look at what just fell into my lap. Let me write this ridiculously long article. I'm going to plagiarize about half of the original one, and then I'm going to add my 2 cents into it. But at the end of every article, I swear to God, it was, Mike Grier said that he's open to moving EK. Let me just tell you, every GM is open to moving every player, as Jerk just said. So, that is not groundbreaking news whatsoever.
No one is safe.
But to turn it into this whole thing of, well, Seattle could use a defenseman, Toronto could use Florida could use a defenseman, and then, but at the very bottom of almost every article, but financially and blah, 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 this will never happen. Well, you just wasted, 800 words, 7 paragraphs to tell me this could happen, but it won't.
Well, and the thing that I liked about, as you said, everybody was sort of reporting on it.
Everybody.
But the thing that I like specifically, Elliot Friedman did some reporting on it. But what I liked about his reporting specifically was he, beyond just picking a team.
We'll just throw that in there because I enjoy it so much.
Right. Beyond just picking a team and saying, them, right? he found some teams. He talked to people around those teams. Hey, what do you think? Is this in the realm of possibility? And then kind of broke down why it was or was not. And, I had made a joke a few weeks ago, like, hey, Ottawa is looking for a right-handed defenseman. And I was mostly being tongue in cheek, but there is actually some truth to that.
Yeah. And there were like 3 articles that would, hey, can Karlsson end up back in Ottawa?
Right. And I know like there was a lot of like slobbing, going on with that whole conversation piece. But I think of all the options that were thrown out there, I actually think that's the one that makes the most sense, weirdly enough.
Well, it might make the most sense for Ottawa, but Ottawa's not going to give the San Jose anything that they want. But, Norris is off the table, Stützle's off the table, like anything of value.
Yeah, but there's other good, I mean, and yeah, because, by
all
all
accounts.
accounts.
To send back a crappy contract.
Well, and, by all accounts, by all accounts, the Ottawa Senators have been trying to trade for Jacob Chychrun for almost a year and haven't been able to make it happen, despite having. Is
that because their GM isn't listening?
Despite having, probably the best assortment of draft picks and prospects in the league, right? And I think that goes to show you how truly challenging it is to make a trade. Especially one of that magnitude. And I know, on the Jeff Merrick show, they had Elliot Friedman had kind of put out there like, hey, if the Ottawa Senators were to trade for Karlsson, they're not going to be able to re-sign Artem Zub. And immediately I'm like, Artem Zub, you say? And so on that mindset, right, there are, and I hate that we're even talking about this, but like, say this becomes a thing, there are options, you know what I mean, to make it happen. Like, if I'm the Sharks, like Artem Zub is the first one, I'm like, you please and thank you.
Sure, but I don't know. I just felt like if Karlsson had been playing, like if, say this was January and Karlsson's been doing this for 3 months, not 3 weeks, then I'm like, oh yeah, I can get it. But it's like, dude, for 3 years, there's been injury problems and it hasn't worked out well, whether it's deployment issues, he's having to fight with Burns for ice time or whatever it was. The fact of the matter is, it's like he's had 3 good weeks over like the last few years. Let's, let's see 3 months of this. Let's see the consistency. And it's kind of like, oh, look, Quinn like solved the Rubik's Cube of Erik Karlsson.
Well, and that's the thing, you have to find a good sort of medium to live in, right? Like you can be happy and excited with what's going on, but you kind of have to take a step back and say, okay, well, this last month has been awesome, but when's the shoe going to be on the other foot? You know what I mean?
When's that other shoe going to drop? Tony Couture in the chat. What is fair value for Erik Karlsson? First round draft pick and a decent right winger for second line, or young defenseman? Essential to get rid of all salary if traded, or don't trade him. Well, look, no one's taking Erik Karlsson at $11.5 million. No one.
I think you'd be hard pressed to find a team that would take him at $5.75 million, which would be 50% retained.
And if the Sharks would be out of their minds to retain 50%. Like I could see,
would they?
Dude, when you look at all the other dead money they have, I understand you want to get it off the books and everything, but I'm just going, you know what? The most that I can see the Sharks eating is like 3.5. Like you can sit there and go, hey, you know what? $8 million. Like that's doable for what he's doing. And if he's going to get you over that hump, because let's be honest, dude, if he was to get some team over the hump for the big shiny thing, all bets are off. All of a sudden it's like, oh, who cares if we don't win for the next 3 or 4 years? We got this big shiny thing to hang our hat on and sell tickets for until we, get out of this.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm more concerned about Timo Meier. There's a lot of speculation. I'm not saying any of it's true, but there has been a lot of speculation. Like, is Timo going to be like, nah, I'm looking at the tea leaves and I'm not feeling this, and maybe I'd be happier somewhere else. QO looks fat and nice. I don't know.
I don't know. I still think, specifically with Timo Meier, I'm still kind of the belief that, They will. I mean, I guess it depends on, again, and I've said this many times before, it depends on where Grier thinks the Sharks are as a whole, right? Like if they're close, or if they're even close-ish, like it makes more sense to hold on to him. We went at length a few weeks ago about teams that rebuilt while keeping prominent players. Boston, Los Angeles, obviously Tampa Bay, come to mind. So we went at length on that. And so if the Sharks are close or close-ish, it makes more sense to keep him, but again, if it's, if this is a situation where it's like, yeah, we plan on being a playoff team when Vlasic's contract is up, which is 3.5 years from now, by the way, then you sell high and you just move on, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
There it is. There you have it.
Time will tell. Let's move on to our heroes and zeros this week. For me, it's been the big names. I mean, we're going to get to the grades at the 20 game mark here in a second, but for me, it's just all of a sudden, I mean, how long did it take? Hurdle scored in like the first game, and then like we didn't see him for like 10 games. Mm-hmm. And now he's starting to come around. And then Meier got off to such a slow start. I mean, it wasn't at one point the leading goal scorer on this team, Nico Sturm.
Yeah, he held that mantle for far too long, if you ask me.
Exactly. So it's just kind of like, all right,
and you know what? They're number 2 and 3 in scoring on the team now. So it shows you the heater they've been on.
Yeah, well, and that's the point. It's like Meier, Hertl, Couture. Like your top 3 forwards are the biggest names. So they're literally starting to perform to where they should be. So, boys, that's, you're showing up all over the score sheet over the last 6 games. Hell, Vlasic, you talk about big names with big deals. 3 assists and a start of the game over the last week. So even Vlasic doing well. So, but my hero, it's the big money guys.
Yeah, I dig it. I support it.
How about you?
I've found, and this has been a recurring theme. This has been a recurring theme, but like in picking these, I've found it hard to, pick a hero and a zero, just because, very seldomly this season have we seen somebody on the bottom who's just like exploded to the top, or someone who was at the top that just kind of fell down dramatically. Like I feel like everybody has sort of been either consistently good or consistently not good, right? Mm-hmm. But if I had to pick one, based on kind of everything, the big picture stuff, for me, it's Alexander Barabanov, which I know doesn't come as a surprise to you. But the big thing, I mean, like this, again, the sexy sort of eye popper, if you will, 10 points in his last 13 games. I mean, he's making things happen, as we talked about. I think I mentioned it 2 or 3 weeks ago. Nieto on his line, not the most offensively inclined player. So
you say,
yeah. So you have to put, extra work, extra work in to get him the puck and make things happen there. But also Couture, Couture kind of went through a weird period of time where he was out there and he was playing, but it didn't really feel like all that much was happening. Mm-hmm. And that has since turned around. And I think a lot of it is credit to Barabanov, just the way, even when he's not getting on the score sheet, he didn't get on the sheet against the Red Wings or the Rangers, but he's still making plays, creating offensive chances. And obviously you don't win with more chances, but more chances give you a better chance at winning, I guess. If it makes sense. Trust me.
Shit, dude. That was some straight Hedekin 4D trust right there.
And I just think specifically on the second line, again, it's kind of a weird mixture, but I think Barabanov he's been the consistent key there and deserves the stick taps.
Well, then follow it up with your zero. Now, if you're going to talk about the third line, remember Bonino, Sturm, and Cunnin as of late.
I know, yeah, and I know Cunnin he's turned it around lately. Again, the thing that I was bitching about the last 2 weeks is Cunnin can't stay out of the penalty box, right? Well, lately he's done that. 2 minor penalties over the last, I think, 6 or 7 games. Obviously for him, that's an improvement.
That's progress.
He's gotten he's gotten a few goals. He scored against the Golden Knights, obviously, which that was a big one. I know you can say with Cunnin and Sturm, they've played well. However, I still think as a whole, Cunnin, Sturm, Bonino, I think that trio, they're leaving a lot on the table, right? I think it seems like they're just day late and a dollar short, right? Where they'll do something good. They'll do a couple things good even, but then kind of like the one crucial thing that's needed to maybe get a goal or turn the tide in the game, it just doesn't show up, and I know, I'll figure I'll put it on a T here, but the one that's kind of really shouldered a lot of the zero-ness for that trio, in my opinion, and obviously in your opinion, is Bonino.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you go from there.
I was gonna say, yeah, Bonino. Like, dude, what happened? You need to work your way back up to Nieto's spot. Is that what it is? I mean, geez. Over the last 6 games, Bonino's had no points. He's a -4, and he's only 50% in the circle. His average ice time 13:33. The 6 games prior, he only had 1 assist, but he was a +1, but he was 60% in the dot and averaging 15:05. So it's like everything is not working for Bonino. I'm sorry to say it, but you're the zero. You better work your way back up to that Couture line, or you have your ass drop down to the 4th line. I don't know, but I'm starting to get a little antsy to see, Eklund centering Bordeleau and Nico at this point.
Well, and the thing that I had mentioned before, like we had talked about it over the offseason when the Sharks had signed Nico Sturm, right? It was like, why are we signing Sturm? We have Bonino. And then as the season progressed, it turned into, why do we still have Bonino? Sturm has been so good, right?
Exactly.
And I feel like as the time has gone on, that sort of divide between the two of them has gotten further and further every week. Especially like with Bonino, especially. I mean, again, as you said, the offense has not been there, right? But even then, like I know, like it's not everything, right? But his face-off percentage it's currently just under 52%, which is, I think anybody in the league would be like, hell yeah, that's awesome, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's consistently been, over the last 5 years or so, he's been a couple percentage points better. And now it is still early. Obviously, we're only a quarter of the way through the season, as you mentioned, but I think one of his strengths has been taking faceoffs. And I know, again, 51.7%, that's very good. But a player like Nick Bonino, you expect more from them.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how you slice it, right? 1 assist in 17 games is not 3rd line material. It's not even 4th line material.
It kind of sucks.
Yeah. And it's really unfortunate because, I think we're both in agreement that he's going to be, at least from a Sharks perspective, he's going to be the hot item come the March 3rd trade deadline. And so,
God willing.
Right. And so you hope that he can step it up, get some more offense and all that kind of stuff and get the Sharks something nice that'll move them forward.
Well, with that, let's move into our grades. So we're 20 games in. It's an 82 game season. So it's essentially here we are at the quarter way, and no significant injuries, except for Šimek. But Šimek could be activated for the game against Ottawa tomorrow. He has been skating, so we'll see. We will continue to monitor the situation. But look, what is this team? I'm not even sure. I know it's supposed to be out hustle, out work, out think the other team because we're not the most talented bunch of goofs.
There hasn't been a lot of that lately, though.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's just rapid fire alphabetical order. Just give me it, man. Barabanov, where A, B, C, D, F.
Can we add nuance or do you just want the letter?
Give me a little context, but keep it brief.
I would say A minus.
Oh.
The only reason it's a minus is because he has 1 goal.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
I think I'm right there with you. Like A minus, B plus, whatever. Again, only 1 goal, but then did he even have a camp? He started so goddamn late. So that's a really awesome point because he's 5th on the team in scoring, no training camp, as you mentioned, and wasn't even ready when the season began. So
like theoretically, the law of averages would tell you that, he should be poised for an even bigger jump, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if he's the fifth best player on the team and he's behind everybody else, like in terms of their pacing,
he's the guy that I want. Sorensen. He's the guy that I want to turn into what they thought Sorensen's going to be. 20 goal scorer.
Right, and I think I mentioned it a couple weeks ago, but Barabanov is the one player that I don't really sweat all that much if he doesn't have a bunch of goals, just because he's gonna pile up the assists.
Mm-hmm. Matt Benning. Going into the, I was gonna say, dude, 5 games in, I'm like, can we say G H? But F, yeah. I'll do a D- right now. Like, I think
I won't.
I would say, like, I thought like the last couple of games it have been a little bit better for him, but yeah, I'm severely underwhelmed.
And so I don't disagree with what you're saying, but when you're the number 2 right-handed defenseman, you need to be relied on. You need to do better than 4 points in 20 games and -8 performance.
Dude, and it's just kind of like, is that better than what Merkley could bring to the party? I don't know.
At worst, it's the same.
Hey, now, and isn't Merkley's deal a little bit financially better?
Well, financially better, futuristically better too.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like, potential game-breaking young defenseman, or your sort of replaceable run-of-the-mill kind of journeyman.
Yeah. And here comes Ian Reed to tell you how much Merkley sucks. No. Nick Bonino.
F.
See, I'm trying
D.
to be nice. Yeah, I'm like D. Again, it's for the 20 games, I expect more than a point.
Yeah, 100%. Like, even as I said, even on the
-7.
Right. Well, and we had kind of talked about it before. Like, how do you, in terms of offense, how do you quantify what you want from a fourth liner, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
he's played fourth line, third line, second line.
Right. But what I'm saying is, like the sort of line that I had said, if you will, is like, if I'm building a team and you're on my fourth line, if you can get a goal a month, I'm happy with you. And
we don't have that.
Right. Well, and that's the thing.
Nick Bonino, month is almost up.
But that's the thing. So by that logic, if you're playing on the fourth line for the Sharks, you should have 2 goals here coming up pretty soon. Nick Bonino's been on the third line and the second line, as you mentioned, and he's got nothing. And he's on the power play. Like, I know the Sharks power play is brutal, but like, that's where you can sort of stack your stats a little bit.
To be fair, he's on the second unit.
Right.
And
which
it
I
seems on
average,
dude, yeah, but I'm going to say, dude, it seems on average, Quinn's, MO is to be like, okay, top line's going to be out there for 1:45. We'll give the last 15 seconds to these schmucks.
Literally what I was begging Bob Boughner to do all along.
Small sample size, only 3 games. Nick Cicek.
Too early to tell.
Yeah, I was going to say incomplete, right?
Yeah.
All right.
But that's fine.
Yeah. Couture, I'm gonna B minus.
Yeah, B minus, only because of, he obviously, the offense is there. He's second in goals, fourth in points, so obviously the offense is there. But
I'm gonna hang I'm gonna give him a solid B. I'm gonna hang that minus on Grier for not giving him somebody to actually play with.
Right, and I think the big thing is, like, kind of like I mentioned, there was that stretch there, end of October, beginning of November, where he was sort of going through the motions and not really doing anything.
Yeah. Ferraro, dude, I hate to say this.
C minus.
Yeah, I was about to say D plus. Like,
he just doesn't seem to have the same intensity that he did in his rookie year.
Yeah, and tied for plus minus at a -12.
God,
like,
that's
dude,
so bad.
And he had his first, at least in my memory, but dude, when he went Starfish, I went, oh fuck. Like, we're already there.
And that's the thing. And we had talked about it a couple weeks ago. That those first 2 seasons, his defense, just in terms of like handling a guy flying up the ice on the rush, like he was the best when it came to like shutting down sort of that, one man show, if you will.
And his engine was never ending.
Right. And now it seems like, and again, it seems kind of like going through the motions. Oh, you know what? I could push this guy to the wall and sort of check him in, or, I could starfish or put my stick out, and it's really unfortunate. And you hope that it's just kind of a weird glitch and it's not a sign of things to come, considering, he got some nice, a nice bag here over the summer.
Yeah. I'm hoping that's it's a bug, not a feature.
Right. And at 24, I think you can still kind of work that out.
Yeah. Gadjevic. I mean, I guess C, just because I don't know. I don't feel like a lot has been asked of him, and I don't think that he's done more than is asked, but he hasn't done less.
Yeah, I would say probably. I think I'm with you. Probably a C, only because he hasn't impressed me, but he hasn't disappointed me either.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
last year there were a lot of times where I was disappointed with him.
Hold on.
Oh.
We had some issues under the table. All right. Noah Gregor, dude. Z.
Incomplete.
Z. I mean, if you're doing this poorly that you can't even crack this lineup, really?
But that's the thing. Is he doing poorly? I don't think so.
But I mean, he's done something. I mean, every team, I guess, has their whipping boy. Before it was Boughner. I mean, there's every team seems to have that one guy. I never thought it would be Gregor. It'd been Sorensen before. But Gregor, it's just like, are you kidding me? And we kept Gregor and let go of Balsers? Christ.
It's just, what I think what it boils down to is last year to this year, he's getting 4 minutes less per game, so he's already behind the 8 ball in the sense that he doesn't have as much time to make things happen. But
dude, he's been scratched for 14 of 20 games.
Right. Well, right. But I'm more talking about when he has been in the lineup, right? He's getting 4 minutes less per game. So again,
I'm sorry, I can't remember when he was in the lineup, but go ahead.
Right. Well, and already, so he's already behind, getting less opportunity when he's in the game, right? But even if you dig deeper, his most common line mates, he's regularly been at the bottom of the lineup, with your Lorentzes, your Gadjevic, your Sturm, and again, these are good players in their own right, but not the type of player that Noah Gregor needs. I know we talked about it last week. I want to see Gregor with Couture and Barabanov. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I think that could be something interesting, but I don't know. Harrington, I mean,
incomplete.
Yeah. Who? Hurdle. I mean, if this was 10 games in, I'd be like D.
I would say B.
Yeah, that's where I'm at now. I'm like, B. I think it's starting to come around. He's starting to figure it out with now that he's been rolling with Meyer for most of the time, but now it seems as though LeBanc has been stapled. So hopefully that continues to play out and they work well together and good things come of it. So yeah, I'd say solid B for Hurdle.
Mm-hmm.
Erik Karlsson. I mean, what is that? A triple plus?
Yeah, I was gonna say A plus.
I don't even think we need to get into why.
No, I mean, there's nothing. I don't
go.
think there's any. I honestly don't think there's any more he could do.
Yeah, AAA plus plus plus.
Yep.
Cunnin, D.
C minus.
Yeah. All right.
But no, actually, no. You know what? D plus. I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm just
because you want more goals. Again, for a third line player, you want more than 3 goals, right?
I mean, I'm not expecting him to pull the lever and all the lemons line up, but
I mean, if he can, by season's end, which he's not on pace for this, but if by season's end he can get to 15, 17 goals, I think that's fine. Right.
Then I'm there. But
right now he's not on pace for that. He's got 3. Remember, he started on the top line.
Exactly. So that's kind of why I'm like, after 20 games, the bill of goods that we were sold at the beginning, it was kind of like, oh, this was going to be a guy who was going to solidify some parts of the top 6, and it's like he's not even there anymore. So,
and to be sort of the optimist, right? His shooting percentage.
We don't do that here.
His shooting percentage is below average, which doesn't help things.
Well.
So that's one. Number 2, he's not had the best line mates, right? True. again, like we had talked about it before, not, like line mates. And obviously, like at the end of the day, you're responsible for your own game, right? But
I had my guy.
but you still need to have quality line mates in order to like get a good flow going, and I'm looking right now, his most common line mates, he was with Meyer, Hurdle, and Cunnin. Like obviously that was one trio at the very beginning of the season, but most of the season has been Bonino, Sturm, Cunnin, or Lindblom, Sturm, Cunnin.
I'd like to know who he was on a line with when he scored those three. Obviously the first one was opening day,
right? So he would have been
top
with
line,
Hurdle,
right? Yeah.
But even then, not necessarily, because 2 of his 3 goals were on the power play.
Oh, okay. So we can't even score 5 on 5. Well, this is great. Okay, I feel like we spent too much time on this guy.
I mean, I'm just saying. I think there's reasons to be optimistic.
God, I hope so. I just don't want another Sorensen with him in that it's like, oh, when you put him out there with an all-world center, he can do pretty well. But other than that, he sucks,
Well, then, by that logic, just always keep him with the all-world center, right?
Yeah, oh, look at Lanico coming here with the
shout out.
Nice. Cinco dinero. Or I'm sorry, uno dinero.
Shout out to Lanico. Thank you much.
Thank you for that, sir. Appreciate it. Kevin LeBanc. I got to say, dude,
B minus.
I was going to say 5-6 games in. I'm like F.
Yeah.
But now, yeah, I'd say B minus. I think that's a solid. Let's see where he's at after 20 more. Once we get to the halfway point, 20 more games of him finding some sort of a rhythm with Meyer and Hurdle. Let's see what he can do. Because kid has a shot. He just needs to. It's the shot selection for me that sometimes I'm just going, fuck, man, what do you need? The goalie to send you an engraved invitation? Get the fucking puck off your stick.
Right. And again, he's another one, a little bit below average on the shooting percentage. So you hope that would sort of come around, right? But this is what we've been clamoring for all along. Like, we've recognized the talent that LeBanc has, and we've said, hey, man, like, you get him in the right spot, and like he could thrive. And as we talked about last week, it's been a little slow. I would like him to pick up the scoring pace, but I don't think he's been out of place on that top line since he's been put up there.
Exactly. Yeah, hasn't stuck out like a sore thumb. And
right.
And one thing I wanted to mention, I forgot when we were talking about Cunnin, is the fact that dude has 34 penalty minutes, leads the team, so he's not helping the team in that regard, and a -12.
-12, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, oof, like this is an upgrade over John Leonard
or Balsers,
right?
Or Jonathan Dahlin.
Oscar Lindblom.
F.
Yeah, for all the hype about him coming in and like rather quickly worked his way down to the 4th line. Oof.
He's the same as he's kind of the same as Nick Bonino, where it's like, bottom line, where you are in the lineup, what you're getting paid, we need more from you.
Mm-hmm.
The difference being is I actually have faith that Lindblom will figure it out and that he'll get there. I'm not feeling the same way about Nick Bonino. And like with Lindblom, like again, similar to what I said about Noah Gregor and even Kevin LeBanc last week, like put Lindblom, with Hurdle and Meyer or with Couture and Barabanov. And, we talked about this. The Sharks are bad. They have more runway to experiment. Leave Lindblom there. See what happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't just say, oh, you know what? You didn't score in this first period. You didn't score a goal and you took a puck over glass penalty. You're off the line. It's like, well, okay, slow down. You know what I mean? Like, the Sharks are bad. They have significantly more runway to just try things out, especially because Lindblom, he signed for next year as well. So, regardless of your thoughts, and I know Ian's providing his thoughts right there, regardless of your thoughts, the fact that he signed on for next year, you have to find a way to make it work out.
Dude, the fact that Benning is signed for 3 more years.
I know.
Lawrence, I don't know, D plus.
I'm more of the C plus variety, just because, again, like he's been primarily on the 4th line, and he, in terms of a 4th liner, again, goal a month, he's right there, right?
Okay.
I think,
yeah, I can see that. You talked me into it.
If I had to find a criticism for him, I mean, again, he's got 2 goals. That's kind of what you want from him. Stays out of the penalty box, which what I like. I think if I had to find one complaint, it's the fact, and the Sharks are a bad team, so it's kind of hard to avoid this, but I would like that fourth line to not be minus. I would like them to be a little bit more defensively sound.
Yes, completely agree. Magna, A.
A. Yep.
Not
and you know what? I will take the poop sandwich, and I will take a big
juicy
nice
bite.
I'll take a big juicy bite out of it because I let him have it last year, and you know what? Deservedly so. I think I let him have it, but this year he said, "Hey, you know what? That random guy I'm never going to meet in my life, and I need to show him that he's an idiot," and he has.
I need to make him mow my lawn.
Yeah, he's come in. He's come back, and remember, like he wasn't even in the main group during training camp, right? And he's come back. He's been with Karlsson most of the time. He's played very well. He's
the new Karlsson whisperer.
He's positive for one.
Yeah.
He blocks shots like a madman. He hits, and he's sort of the complete package. And I think as long as Karlsson continues to play in, not even at this rate, but just as long as Karlsson continues to play well, I think through osmosis, Magna will continue to play well.
Nice. Timo.
A-.
See, I was going to say B-.
Okay.
I just again, it goes back to if it was the first 10 games, then I'm like D+, right? But I think over this last, the last 10, no, I think I feel like he's upped his game a little bit, and it also seems like, well, here's a few games with Couture, that's not working. Here's a couple games with Hurdle, that didn't work. Okay, let's try Couture again. Finally, it's kind of Quinn going, you guys are my top line. These are the three, and so get used to it, figure it out. And I feel like Meier has all of a sudden been like, okay, now I'm getting it. I know what Hurdle's going to do, and we're going to do this, and watch this. I'm going to fucking score 35 goals again.
Well, and that's why I assigned the A-. The minus obviously for the slow start, right? But I still give an A just because even with the slow start in mind, he still has played well enough the last, maybe 3 weeks or so. He's on pace for 70 points.
Well, I was going to say, I think he's on pace for 33 goals.
Yeah, he's in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
33, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like,
which he's right there,
Yeah, well, dude, and then how many games against LA did the Sharks have? Kind of goose those numbers a little.
Well, and not only that, if you want to really dig into the numbers, right? Timo Meier, his right now his shooting percentage is at 8.4%. In his career, he's averaged somewhere between 10 and 12%. So you have to think that's going to come around.
Dude, Ian's pissed off. He's like, oh, great. Magna's going to get 5x5. Probably. I don't know. We'll see how Grier handles stuff like that. So, all right. You're going to love it. Matt Nieto. I'm going to say B+.
Oh, my God.
For what is being asked of him?
No.
Dude, I think where is he at? Dude, 3 goals, 3 assists. Okay, C+. I'll go C+, because he's playing I feel like he's playing above his head right now. Like, he should not be on the second line. We've established that. But he's still contributing. He's not, at least for me, yes, would you like somebody better than Couture Barabanov in that situation? Yes. But I go back to something you said earlier where, for the most part, I'm not watching the Sharks game and going, oh, fuck Nieto. It happens. Don't get me wrong. But I don't know. I just, for what is being asked of him, I feel like, God damn, I wouldn't want to be in his position. So I'll give him a little bit of credit for that.
But you know what, though, dude? You just said he's playing above his head. And he's on the second line, and he's on pace to, which again, he's overperforming right now. He's on the second line on pace for 12 goals.
Okay,
that's just not good.
But hold on,
right?
But you admit that he's overperforming.
He is overperforming,
and that, my friend, is why I gave him a higher grade.
Sure, and I respect that assertion. But
now, after the next 20 games, it could very well could be an F.
But you know what? The fact that he's overperforming and still not really doing anything all that remarkable.
To me, what he is doing is remarkable because I didn't expect this. I expected him to just play, seven a night, kill some penalties, and be on the fourth line, the plug guy, and maybe if we're lucky, we get a shorty out of him once, maybe twice.
Now, what if I told you
Here we go.
What if I told you he was second on the team in plus minus? I know that doesn't mean anything.
Bring it on, Morpheus.
But he is -9, and again, that's not.
That's the ball kicker.
And that's not what you expect from your defensive stalwart, on the bottom six, right?
Yeah. All right.
No,
okay. All right. C-. You talked me into it. Shimmick. Dude, before the injury, I would say
B.
Yeah. That's what I was going to be like. That he played a little bit better, and he's getting a little more time. But yeah, the injury, of course, I'm just going, God damn it. That's going to be his calling card. Is like every time he seems to like start to put it together, injury. And then,
unfortunately,
and then just gets me. Nico Sturm, A. Yeah, like dude, way more than I expected.
And you know what? He's cooled down a little bit, but
felt like he held the team together for the first 20.
Right, and again, okay, he's been playing third line minutes, which I understand, but for all intents and purposes, he is a fourth line player. And he's, according to my expectations for a fourth liner, he doesn't have to. He's off the hook for scoring a goal until April, right? So he's kind of coasting on his equity right now.
Dude, he's built up so much equity.
But that's not a bad thing, and kind of like how we had sung the praises of him, a few weeks back. I mean, obviously getting big goals, which is awesome.
But dude's on pace for 25 goals.
Right, you have that, and he's and again -5, but the whole team is minus, right?
Yeah.
And
if your name isn't Erik Karlsson, you're minus.
Right, and he does a good job at staying out of the box. Only 3 minors in 20 games, killing it on the faceoffs, 58.7%. Skates like a motherfucker. More takeaways than giveaways, which is awesome. Block shots, like
it reminds me
the whole package,
dude. No, he fucking hits that ice like he caught it fucking his wife. Dude, it kills it.
But you know what I mean? Like he's kind of the whole package. Like he just does everything right.
Yes, I did borrow that from Ted Lasso.
and you know what? And I saw, what I thought was funny about Nico Sturm? So he was quoted, before the game. It might have been last week, actually, before the game against Minnesota, or maybe after. But he had said, he was like, "Oh, I have no ill will towards Minnesota for trading me." And I'm like, okay, that's a nice sentiment, but
shit.
No, but but like really think about it. Like that's a nice sentiment. But
it's not true, but it's a nice sentiment.
No, but not even that. Why forget ill will? Why would you feel anything towards Minnesota? They traded you to the Stanley Cup champion.
Oh, well, then, yeah, if that's the case, then it's just kind of...
Why would he have... You know what? They traded me to Colorado and I won a cup. Why am I upset?
Yeah, who cares? Evgeny Svechnikov. Dude, I was so high on this guy for a while, and just like the last couple...
I knew all along he sucked and nobody listened.
Oh, man. I just... yeah, it was you, dude. I mean, but however, 83% in the dot. Completely sustainable. Remember those two face-offs he won out of 3?
I was gonna say, yeah, with his 6 face-offs right now. Yeah, okay, sure. But you know what? Here's the thing. I will kind of be the contrarian a little bit. He is one of 3 forwards that are plus, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? He's again. I think if he is to kind of be the next candidate for the second line, I think he's going to have to do a little bit more to impress, but he is definitely I give him a C, and my sort of nuance there is he's not the worst forward on the team.
Well, I mean, it's not a real high bar to get over, but yeah, I'll give you that. I mean, all of his points have come at even strength. So right. I like that part of it. Lord knows the Sharks have problems scoring 5-on-5.
I'd like him to shoot the puck more, honestly.
Again, yeah, right there. Him and LeBanc need to have like a shooting clinic or something where they just go to town. What is it? AJ, can we get you a hat like EK65? If it's this hat, hell no. No. Do I look like I'm trying to sell you newspapers in the 1920s? I don't think so.
And and here's the thing. So, Svechnikov, he's one of two forwards, who have less than 20 shots on goal this season. The other one is Bonino, and so I kind of feel like you pair that. It's like, well, the two guys who could probably stand to put a couple more goals in are the ones that aren't really shooting a whole lot.
I go back to something you said at the beginning of the season where you're like, this is not the Svechnikov we wanted.
Yeah, I would have much liked the other one, but whatever.
Last one, Marc-Edouard Vlasic, A.
I would say B+.
There you go. Yeah, A-. Yeah, I'd be right
But
in
he's
there.
been, considering the last 3.5 years, he's been very good.
Oh, hell yeah. So those are grades. Overall team grade, I mean, based on their record and everything,
D+.
Well, I was going to say, you look at it D+. I look at it as A+. Or no, A. If they can fall to 32nd, then it's A+.
Okay, I see what you mean.
you get my 3D my 4D chess?
Yeah, you're kind of doing the sort of reverse psychology.
You picking up what I'm throwing down?
Right.
So overall, though, how about the NHL at large through 20 games? Like, dude, the Blue Jackets being the biggest loser, did not have that on my bingo card. New Jersey going on a 12-game heater, not on my bingo card. But but the other thing is, like, you can look at McDavid and Draisaitl at the top of the screen, and you're like, oh yeah, that was on my bingo card. It was center square.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. That's your free space.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
No, there's kind of been a lot of sort of interesting little storylines there. I kind of look at the stats. I mean, and again, maybe I come from a place of bias, right? But I look at the best statistical goalie in the NHL right now, Linus Ullmark. I did not pick that whatsoever.
No.
But again, right? Boston Bruins are 16-2, quietly 16-2.
Yeah.
Right.
And was it Marchand was like playing every other game for a while there?
Well, yeah, because he came back early from the injury, so he was kind of doing the Yager a little bit, just playing the home games. But
right. Toronto off to a slow start.
Right, and didn't expect Erik Karlsson to be third in the NHL in scoring. Obviously,
I think it's fourth right now, but yeah,
he's tied for third actually.
Is it? You better recheck those
with two other guys.
Oh, okay.
So
I didn't like 20 games in. Did I expect this from New Jersey? No. Carolina, yeah, about where we all thought.
Yeah.
Islanders maybe overperforming a little, maybe.
I mean, the writing has been on the wall a little bit, but I'm surprised that the Capitals have tumbled as quick as they have.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Even though the writing's been on the wall for a bit.
Rangers, I'm kind of disappointed in them so far. I expected them.
You thought they'd be just blowing it out?
No, not blowing it out, but I definitely thought that at 19, close to 20 games, that they'd have double digits in wins.
Fair.
Pittsburgh, I feel like Pittsburgh's kind of where we all, it's like Crosby, people age.
Yeah, see, I'm surprised that Pittsburgh is as low as they are, only because I felt like they had done a lot of really good with their roster. You know what I mean? Like just bringing Malkin and Letang back, who've played well, bringing Ricard Raquel back, right? And like getting all of them on, very nice haircuts. And, you kind of expected, especially the way, Jason Zucker has kind of bounced back a little bit. I really, really thought, I'm like, man, just when you think the Penguins are dead, like they find a way, right? But I kind of feel like they're just still missing. I don't want to say they're missing that one piece, right? But just like the pieces that they currently have, there's a handful of them that maybe could stand to do a little bit more.
Yeah. Philly got off after that hot start, and then somebody told them, you're the Flyers. And they went, oh, okay, we forgot. And then, have won 2 games in their last 10. So, hey,
I'm not surprised by that. Philadelphia is like the worst team in the league.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, oh, there's the Flyers hockey we all expected. We already talked about Boston, Toronto. Tampa Bay got off to a little bit of a slow start, but they've come around. Detroit, are they on the come up a little bit faster than you might have thought?
I think so. They were really aggressive in free agency, right? I mean, they brought in Andrew Kopp, they brought in David Perron, They've brought in Dominic Kubalik. So like they've been very aggressive in adding to their team.
Be aggressive.
Right. I don't know. I still was kind of like, we'll see, just because, beyond Hronek and Seider, that defense is not. They brought in Ben Sherratt though, but even then, like beyond Hronek and Seider, that defense is not the most like sexy group out there. And I think the goaltending is it's very shoulder shrug for me.
All right. Florida. Are you a little surprised that they've done this crappy, or like with the offseason moves that they made, you're like, this feels about right?
I mean, I still think they were stupid for trading away their best player, but they brought in a really good forward. So it's kind of like, okay, they lose Huberdeau, but they have Tkachuk. That's fine. But, they traded away Mackenzie Weegar, I guess, because they didn't want to sign him or they couldn't sign him. But as soon as it's so funny, like they trade away Mackenzie Weegar, their best defenseman, and then they turn around and they say, you know what, we really need a top defenseman. and I kind of feel like that's been their downfall, especially, Aaron Ekblad being hurt doesn't help, obviously. But
he's on the men though, right? That's why they got Wade Balsers to fit him back in.
Right. Yeah, he is back, which obviously helps them. But again, similar to Pittsburgh, right? They have good players. It's just the good players have not been particularly good. Bobrovsky, it's very up and down with him. And right now, this season, it's down. He's not playing very well at all. And again, they're just, it seemed like they were getting a lot from everybody, right, last year. And this year, not so much.
Montreal probably doing a little bit. I wouldn't have put them at a winning record at this point, but here we are.
Yeah, but, that's... the wind could blow differently, and that will change, No,
I get you, but Montreal, I didn't think they would ever have a winning record this season at any point, unless they won the very first game.
Right.
Buffalo, Saber's going to Saber. It's weird, dude. They got rid of Eichel, and all of a sudden they went on that great tear, and everything was good, and then all of a sudden the offseason came, and then like the Eichel bloom fell off the rose, and now they're, same old Sabres, 2-8 in their last 10. Ottawa has been a surprise for me. I had higher expectations than 6-10-1.
Well, they were behind the 8 ball really early. Artem Zub was hurt. Josh Norris is currently hurt. So they've kind of been behind the 8 ball. Thomas Chabot is also currently hurt. They're their number one center and their top 2 defensemen all injured. It's kind of hosed. Not only that, and you know what, Zub is back, and I think Chabot is close, but Josh Norris, is probably going to be out for all or most of the year. But the thing is, like, they're, and we had kind of talked about it over the summer, but like, even though they had done a lot of really good things for their team, their goaltending is still not all that impressive. Right. And I know they brought in Cam Talbot, who's a really good goalie, but you questioned who was behind him. Right. And then, oh crap, Cam Talbot gets hurt, so.
Oh, here we are.
Right. So there's, yeah.
Yeah, I had more hope for them. In the West, Dallas at number 1 after 20 games?
Shocked.
I'm not totally shocked. Okay, no, I'm a little shocked.
Like very, very obvious that they were on the upswing, but I didn't think it would be this quick.
No, and of course it would, because you know why? Peter DeBoer does his best work that first year. Well, next year is gonna suck for Dallas.
Well, and that's the thing. Like I said, very obvious Dallas was on the upswing, but you didn't think it was going to be this quick, right? But again, that crazy good top line that they had last year is, Robertson, Hintz, Pavelski. They're all over point per game. Which
what were they on the upswing coming in though? Aside from that top line. And then, if Otter can do Otter things, but they lost. So. They lost Klingberg and, didn't really replace. And
right. Well, they brought it. They got Mason, like they brought in Mason Marchment.
Mason Marchment was good, but didn't they? And signing Robertson was like at the 11th hour.
It was, but he leads their team in scoring. So,
give every player the summer off.
Right, but like
preseason be damned. Fuck training. Who needs it?
Right, but you look at that team. The top line is really good. The goaltender is really good. They still have Heiskanen, who's really good. But the guys they added have really turned the tide for them. Mason Marchment has been good. Nils Lundqvist has been decent. I think once he sort of settles in, I think he'll be really good for them. A full season of Jake Ottinger as well. Last year he was kind of getting the jam a little bit, but there's sort of the X factor here for me. And again, I think a big chunk of it could be attributed to the PDB bump. Jamie Benn has come alive.
Yeah. Who woke him up?
Right. Because if you remember, like, there was that couple year stretch where he won an Art Ross trophy.
Yeah.
And was like really like, oh, this is the premier power forward in the league, right? And then right around the time, the season before COVID and then the 3 COVID seasons, it was kind of like, oh shit, maybe Jamie Benn at $9 million is not what we want.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been really good this year. And I think they had talked about like, oh, we have Ben, we have Sagan. We want to get a really good third for that line. And it was supposed to be Mason Marchand, and obviously they've blown things up a little bit with their lines, but the team as a whole has been really good. And, I think it's all through osmosis, I think.
The rest of the Central, I gotta be honest, like kind of shook out the way we all thought it was going to be. Like Chicago and Arizona in the basement, and but maybe Nashville has done. I mean, they're 500 along with Minnesota. Maybe I would expect a little bit more from Minnesota, maybe a little less from Nashville, but the rest of it is kind of Colorado, St. Louis, maybe Winnipeg overperforming a little right now, but I don't know. At least aside from Dallas being number one, like I would have seen them like 2, 3, or 4. I look at the Central and I go, yeah, that looks right.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I wasn't overly interested with Nashville or Minnesota, to be honest with you. And I think probably to a fault, I've been high on the Winnipeg Jets for a long time. And I was thinking, they were bad. They weren't very good last year, and then they take the C off of Blake Wheeler, and are they going to trade Wheeler? Are they going to trade Scheifele? Are they going to trade Pierre-Luc Dubois? Like, there's been all this controversy surrounding them, but they've played very well. Their best forwards have been really good. Neil Pionk, appears to have come back around. He kind of quieted down, on their blue line. And same thing with Connor Hellebuyck. Like Connor Hellebuyck, he looks like the Vezina goalie that everybody was pegging him as.
Well, and over the last 10 games, no one in the Central has a better record than Winnipeg.
Mm-hmm.
They're just quietly doing it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the key word right there, quietly.
In the Pacific, I don't know a lot of people had LA in the second slot at this point. As high as I was on LA, I did not have them in the second slot here. What is more surprising for you? The fact that Vegas is number one? Because I don't remember you being too high on Vegas when we did the preview.
I said Vegas was going to miss the playoffs and Vancouver was going to take their spot.
So what is more surprising for you, Vegas being number one right now, or that, Edmonton isn't? Now, granted, you have the injury to Kane and everything, but still.
Yeah, I thought Edmonton would be certainly better than Seattle and probably better than Los Angeles, but this kind of feels like the sort of rotation that Edmonton goes through, right? Where they start really slow and then as things get rolling, they pick it up, and they get moving. Because, I mean, you look at their, like, McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, Hyman, Kane, like, have all been really good. I think, only 3 assists for Yamamoto in 13 games. You definitely want more from Yamamoto. You want more from Jesse Puljujarvi. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's that middle 6 secondary scoring that's been, the problem for them. But not only that, Jack Campbell, big free agent deal, right? Jack Campbell's been brutal. They've basically, from what I understand, have either been splitting him with Stuart Skinner or just giving the net outright to Stuart Skinner. So I think they're
surprised that they didn't make that move earlier, but
yeah, I just think they're a little bit rattled to start the season, but their team is very good. I don't think another defenseman would kill them, but I think once things sort of settle down, I think they're going to be right there. They'll definitely overtake Seattle. I mean, for me, Seattle is kind of this year's Anaheim, right? And
what?
Yeah.
Well, in what regard? Show your work. What are you talking about?
Well, remember last year, a third of the season, Anaheim was in a playoff spot, and I said, no, dude, they're going to tumble quicker than a bag of rocks, and then they did.
Oh,
I think Seattle's the same thing.
Well, I mean, yes.
Write it down, dude.
Well, okay, but I'm just saying because that's an easy call to make when you look at who's in between the pipes. But Martin Jones right now, better numbers than Reimer, Kakkonen. I mean, dude, Chief has a 913 with a 2.3 goals against.
Yeah, you know what?
You're like unsustainable.
Yeah, I mean, Rome fell, right?
So, oh, we'll see what happens when Grubauer like returns. But, whew, I mean, dude, if you had shown me two stat lines, and one was 913 save percentage, 2.3 goals against, or 860 save percentage, 3.7. And you're like, one of those belongs to Grubauer and one of those belongs to Jones. I think we all know what everybody would have said. Right. And it would have been the opposite of what it actually is. So, all right, that's kind of where we're at after 20 games. I can't wait to see where we get at the halfway mark, because obviously things are going to continue to be fluid and move around. Anything else from the NHL? Well, just a couple things. Montreal, did they introduce a mascot called Metal?
I don't even know what that means.
Dude, MTL, right? So, the Montreal, short for Montreal. But I don't know what this is, but I encourage you, go figure it out for me, and then leave the comment in the chat or in the comment section, because I'm not sure what the hell this mascot has to do with anything. But they certainly brought down the house for the introduction.
Oh yeah, they do have.
I don't know what the hell that thing is.
So
I like how Fire Lindy became Sorry Lindy in New Jersey after a 12-game heater.
So now,
dude, nobody cares about Montreal's mascot.
No, so I'm looking at it. So Youppi is still their mascot, but Metal is going to be their mascot for their reverse retro games.
Oh my god! So they fucking broke out a mascot for like 8 games?
Yeah, they.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Jesus.
Okay. To be fair, it would have been funny if the Sharks had like brought out a seal, but anyway.
No, it would not have been funny.
No, turn it off. We had some GM meetings this week. They're going to keep the penalty for an unsuccessful coach's challenge. I think that's fine. Yeah, I love that. Puck over glass will not become a discretionary call. I don't think it should. It either goes over, or, when you start judging intent, things go off the rails.
I agree, but of course,
show me the one guy who sits there and goes, "Yeah, I meant to put it out."
Right, but I'm also of the belief that the puck over glass thing should be treated like an icing. I don't think it should be a penalty.
Okay, that's fair. Everyone has to wear a bucket now, I guess, during warm up. So those beautiful quaffs you're not going to quite see anymore.
If it keeps people safe, whatever.
Sure. GMs asked for more information about the net being pushed off the moorings. I guess anecdotally, it's happening more often. Maybe there should be a penalty. It's a tough call. At the very least, I think maybe you try to make it reviewable, because sometimes it's just shitty ice. A guy glides by it and the thing just pops right up. What was it? The games in Prague? It felt like they were falling over anytime like somebody blew too hard on the other end.
Right, and I think that's attributed to. I think Couture said that the ice in Prague was like slush.
Yeah, so maybe that's something that should be reviewed, because I remember, dude, Dallas, man, Marty Turco. It seemed like any time the puck got within 20 feet of him and he was like, "Oh shit! Oh, excuse me while I just knock this off and get a stoppage." Like I think they're at the very least it could be reviewed.
Well, but again, going back to what you said, like when it comes to the net coming off, like you're judging intent, right?
Yeah, and exactly. That's the very difficult part of it is because you're going to blow the whistle anyway, obviously, because it's off. So maybe you you try to find some quick look at it, and it's like, oh, well, if it's blatantly obvious that, Chief, like the goalie wasn't even anywhere near what happened. One guy banged another guy into it and knocked it off. That's fine. But when you see like it's literally just the goalie around it and it just boink, pops off, you're like, hey, how the hell did that happen?
Right.
I don't know. But the request is there for more data. There was a cap update similar to the Board of Governors conversation. The hope is it will be more than $1 million, closer to the $86 million mark. We're all at 82.5 now. Does 86 sound doable to you for next season?
I think so. I mean, just what they've kind of said is their projections for revenues and all that kind of stuff, and I think the fact that the salary cap went up $1 million for this season after we thought it was going to be stagnant, I think was an early indicator that things are starting to trend in the right direction.
Oh, dude,
And,
all that coin from the digital ads and the jersey ads.
right. Well, and there's so much more to it, right?
Oh, sure.
And reverse retro 2.0 and gambling and the new television deals. I mean, it's a smorgasbord of positive things. But
This podcast brought to you by DraftKings.
but I think they had talked about a couple weeks ago. Next year $1 million, and then in 2 years it was going to be, I believe, $3.5 million, and then in 3 years it's going to be like $7 million or something. If we're going to see, let's just say hypothetically, if we're going to see $3.5 million jump for next year, like that's you can only imagine where it's going to go after next year. And I think that's why the people who are worried about Erik Karlsson's contract or Timo Meier's contract or all the dead money, like I feel like as the salary cap starts to go up over the next 3 years, all of these issues are going to become moot.
Cool. So with that, let's move on to that other team in San Jose.
Ooh, Barracuda.
Well, interesting week for the other team, to say the least. The CUDA played 3 games this week, including a 3-0 shutout for Strauss Mann over San Diego. That is so cool. And to reward him, he was immediately sent to the Wichita Thunder. Goals in that one came from Weatherby, Reedy, and Agazzino. Then the CUDA finished this weekend up with a pair against Tucson. Boy, the Roadrunners kind of ran all over the Barracuda. They got a 3. they were up 3-0 and then somehow lost 6-3. Like, maybe. Eklund, Reedy, and Agazzino. So it's 2 straight games that Reedy and Agazzino get on the board, but the CUDA allowed 6 straight. That's a kick in the smalls.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I don't have written down? Maybe Ian can pop it in. Who the hell was the goalie in that? And was there more than one? Because if Strauss is already down, and I know McAniemi played today, so I wonder if that was Dell. They got lit up like a Roman candle. But the second game finished up a couple hours ago and was quite a different story. You had goals from Gushkin, Eklund, Kanijev, and then a natural hat trick from Bordeleau.
Huge.
Yeah, huge. So a 6-0 win, and so boom, 2 shutouts for the CUDA this week. One from Mann, one from McAniemi. You got Eklund scoring multiple goals, Reedy scoring, Agazzino scoring. A lot of good stuff, man. And CUDA are going to finish up.
Tristan Probbins.
Oh, that's right. So it was Dell. Ian confirming. Yeah, it was Dell. He got woof. But yeah, Tristan, nice. Oh, 2 of the 6 were empty net. Good.
and Ian also pointing out that McAniemi going to Wichita is not a demotion, which
Nice.
I agree with. I mean, okay, yes,
Well,
AHL to
but
ECHL.
hold on. Mann went to Wichita, not McAniemi.
What did I say?
You said McAniemi.
Oh, yes, man, sorry. Okay, yes, AHL to ECHL, there's a lot you can say there, but at the end of the day, man, he's getting playing time and he's playing well, right?
Hell yeah.
So that's how I choose to look at it, and I think that's how Ian chooses to look at it as well.
Sure. The CUDA are going to finish up a 5-game roadie this week at Ontario on Wednesday, then in Henderson for a Black Friday matinee. You doing anything on Friday? Might have to head to Henderson, do you?
I'm not going to be in Southern Nevada on Friday.
Oh,
actually.
there you go. And then on Saturday, they will be at Bakersfield. CUDA currently have improved their record to 8-6-0-1, currently 5th in the Pacific Division. Hopefully, we were promised we were going to get some games on NBCSN at some point. Hopefully, that's going to happen relatively soon.
We're close to being close.
And I love that. Who doesn't want to be close to close?
Hey, can we give away this lunchbox?
Okay.
I mean, unless you have anything else.
I got, just a couple of quickie things, but yeah.
Sure, hit it.
No, go ahead. You first.
No. Hit, because this is going to take a while, so hit the quickies.
Oh, well, I don't know. Okay, fine. My whole thing is that I kind of went over earlier, but I just want to say stick taps to Katsanika at NHL for generating so much content for everybody else. That's you demand.
Yeah, there's a lot of there was a lot of Erik Karlsson will is rumored to be traded, blah blah blah. Here's the original article. Like, if anything,
See,
he did.
That's my point, though.
He generated content for everybody else, to your point, but in a way, you could make the argument that everybody else's work got viewers to his original article, right?
If they, if they actually talk about it or link to it or whatnot, is it, because
Sure.
let's be honest, there's some people not the most ethical folks in the world, and they'll sit there and go, there were reports that Mike Grier, okay, who made the report? They
Many people.
Yeah, they kind of gloss right over that. So, based on the article, multiple podcasts, blogs, other social media posts, turned his column or question into content when they could have just retweeted him. It's like wearing a t-shirt with a picture of another t-shirt on it. Or, here's a Xerox of a crayon drawing that I did of the Mona Lisa when I could have just retweeted a photo of the actual Mona Lisa. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
I hear that.
yeah, it's like, imagine, then we're just going to animate the clip that we showed you earlier of Erik Karlsson falling instead of like the actual one.
Right.
I don't ever remember picking up a paper, like a newspaper or a magazine, and reading about a different paper in an article in that paper. You know what I mean? Just come on, help other people out. You're not going to get every fucking scoop in the world. So,
And that's okay.
yeah. All right, dude. Karlsson's been eating my lunch for, the better part of this season. Let's give somebody a box to put their lunch in.
Lunchbox. All right. So I'm pleased. I'm pleased to announce.
We can finally give this thing away.
So we have a winner this week.
Thank you.
If you weren't here, or if you were here but you forgot, we had 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We had 15 people enter 2 weeks ago.
Speak your names.
We had 15 people enter 2 weeks ago, and nobody won. So we rolled it over.
Because nobody pulled the Price is Right $1 bid. Come on.
Right. We rolled it over. Nobody won. And so of those 15 people, only 12 of them sent in new numbers. On top of that 12, we had 17 new people enter in. So the giveaway that we presented last week, part 2, if you will, had 29 people who threw their hat in the ring. And I think, just as an aside, that is our busiest.
People want this goddamn box, bro.
most populous giveaway we've ever done.
Nice.
And so, again, 29 entries. And we didn't need the tiebreaker because there was only one person who there was only one person who got it right. The Sharks goalies over these 3 games at Vegas versus Detroit versus the New York Rangers, the collective save percentage was 866. That was the collective save percentage, 866.
Y'all got fucked by Detroit.
And of the 29 entrants, 28 of them were over 866.
That's what I'm saying, dude. $1.
Right. So coming in with a guess of 833 save percentage, which 833 is far away from 866, but it is the closest without going over.
So awesome.
And they were in the chat tonight. Burge 7F91. They were in the chat earlier. I don't know if they are currently. You are the big winner.
It's Burge?
It is Burge.
Oh!
I know they were in the chat earlier. I don't know if they're still here.
Oh, yeah. No, they were. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my Owen Wilson impression. Oh, wow.
But so if they're listening currently, send me a DM on Twitter, send me an email. We'll get your address. I'll pass it to AJ and he'll fire off the goods to you. Nice. And congratulations. Good job at aiming low.
Well done.
Yeah, really exciting. As I said, this was our
pessimism pays off.
Right. And, like as I said, our most populous giveaway. We had 29 entries. And Burge is in the chat. Shout out.
Yeah.
Shout out
First
to
time I
Burge.
ever won everything ever.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. Throw that comment up there.
Well, Burge, I'm just saying right now, you better be in the continental U.S.
I don't want to dox this person, so I'll keep it vague. But they are in the
There you
continental
go. That's
US.
what I was looking for, because I was like, oh man, you watch, this poor bastard's going to be in Finland or something. I'm like, I'm not paying the freight. Sorry.
Yeah, again, I don't want to dox them, but according to their Twitter, they are close.
Sweet. So with that, we're going to give away some more stuff. And in fact, this is probably something that we're going to continue for every Sunday leading up to Christmas. So
Yeah. The short version is that AJ and I, over the last 7 years, have accumulated a lot of swag.
a lot of stuff.
And we are now realizing, hey, you know what? We might have a little bit too much.
Yeah.
So this is where it comes. This is where it's come from. After 4 months after moving into my house, I'm finally busting into my bins of swag. AJ has been in his house much longer than I have, but he too has some bins to bust into. So we're coming up with we're gonna find some cool swag for some giveaways. It's stuff that we have evolved from, but it's still really cool. And I think anybody else who can get their hands on it, I think would really dig it. And it's like you said, I don't want to say the 12 days of Jerkmas or anything. I don't want to say that, but more or less.
I swear to God, dude, every time we're doing the show,
Yeah.
I look at it and it says about 7:40, 7:42, and I'm like, we can easily wrap this up before the top of the hour. And then I blink, and all of a sudden it's almost 9 o'clock. So here's the next one.
Yeah, we got another one. So get your pencils ready. Email or Twitter DMs. Both methods are acceptable.
Yeah. So if you're interested in a 49ers Sharks jersey that was given away last night, this is size XL.
There you go.
Booyah. And if you want to win that, and there might be, I might find something else to throw in there too. If you want to win that, the Sharks are going to be playing 4 games this week. It's Ottawa, at Seattle, LA, and Vancouver.
The last one being a takeover.
Yes, we will be doing the takeover. So next week, when the hell is that game?
That's a 5:00 game.
Oh, so we're going to be a little bit later than normal. Probably closer to what, like 7:40 or something. So
Yeah, between 7:30 and 8:00, I would say.
yeah. So if you want to win that, here's how we're rolling. 4 games are going to be played between now and next Sunday when we take over. If you want that jersey well, I guess you could if you want to.
Yeah, you could, if you want to.
Yeah, if you want to hit up, slide into Jerk's DM, sure. But the best way, so we can catalog and keep everything cool, email hockeyjerk10@gmail.com and tell him what you think the collective amount of ice time Erik Karlsson will register the next 4 games. This is not an average. This is the collective. So if he posts up 23 minutes on Monday and 25 minutes on Wednesday and 24 minutes on that number that you're going to be looking at is going to be somewhere around, I don't know, if he's averaging 25 minutes a game, the collective total is going to be about 100 and something.
Right, and so we'll give you an example just to really square it.
Because I'm afraid you're going to get a bunch of emails that say like 22 point something because they're going to think it's the average.
Right, and so
I want the collective.
And so here's the best way to do it. So these last 3 games, the 3 games that we spent the last almost 2 hours talking about. Erik Karlsson, he played against Minnesota. I'm sorry, against Las Vegas, he played 22-48. Against Detroit, he played 24-24. And against New York Rangers, he played 25-12. So you would add those 3 numbers together, which gives you 72 minutes and 24 seconds. If the contest was about this week's games, that would be the number we were looking for. The added together of the ice time. So as AJ said, we've got 4 games this week: home Ottawa, away Seattle, home LA, home Vancouver, I think.
Yeah.
Those 4 games. What is Erik Karlsson's combined ice time in those 4 games? You need to get your answer in. Well, shit, I guess you need to get your answer in by tomorrow at 7 p.m. Pacific.
That would be optimal.
Optimal. But again, you know what? There's 4 games. If it comes in during the first game, we're not going to nickel and dime you.
Yeah. Like if we don't get it until Tuesday, I would say Wednesday. In fact, you know what? Let's just make that the thing. It has to be in before the start of the game on Wednesday at Seattle.
Before game number 2.
Yeah, before game number 2. So we'll give you the first one as a freebie. That'll you can gauge it. If you want to take that number and just say, okay, what's that times 4 and send it in, fine.
Yeah, I mean, more power to you.
Yeah, whatever gets you there. So that's we'll be doing the jersey, and again, I'm probably going to throw something else along with there. Next week will very likely be one of the giveaways that we're going to do. Will quite likely be a what are they calling that thing? The Oakland Seals scarf. So that all arena giveaway that's going to happen, this is really more for people that, unfortunately aren't in the San Jose area, can't go to the game. Like their only opportunity to get some of these things is to, log on to eBay and get poked and prodded.
Mm-hmm. And again, worth mentioning, just so there's no confusion, closest without going over.
Yes, on the EK combined thing. And the other thing, and I'm not trying to call anybody else out. I'm just saying there's no requirements.
We've already
like you're not required to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You're not required to follow us on social media channels. You're not none of that shit. It's email hockeyjerk10@gmail.com that here's the combined ice time for Eric. We're not going to ask you to dance through any other hoop other than just send us your guess.
Yep, that's it. There's no sign up required. Thank
you, Eric.
Shout out to Jesse. Jesse has already sent their entry in. I've received it. It's been logged. You are all good, my friend.
Sweet. So, all right. Can't wait to send off the box. Look forward to doing another giveaway. And again, we're going to be doing this every Sunday until
we feel like it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, until we run out of shit or this stops being fun for us. Something like that. Who knows? But not to say that these giveaways might not I don't know, go higher or lower in value. I'm just saying I happen to have a Timo Meier autographed game puck.
Oh, hey now. I think there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's almost like a Secret Santa where,
it's almost do I really want this anymore?
Yeah, but like it's almost Secret Santa, right? Where it's like, oh, okay, I need to tune in next week. I want to see what the giveaway is. And it could be an autographed puck or it could be a crumpled territory sign.
Pretty much. Yeah.
It's kind of like the white elephant sort of deal.
Absolutely. Yeah, it could be
teal elephant?
Yeah, you might get a game signed puck that has Timo Meier's signature on it. On the other hand, you might get a Dylan Gambro.
You might get a game puck that's signed by AJ.
I mean, I'm not going to go that far.
But the point is that there's no rhyme or reason to what it is.
Yeah, just enjoy what you get. So the Sharks will finish a stretch where they play 5 of 6 at home, as the Sharks will host the Senators, play at Seattle, host LA with a rare night game on Black Friday. I can't remember the last time I've seen the Sharks play.
Usually it's a matinee.
Yeah. So
and usually the Wednesday game before Thanksgiving is usually a home game.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
I know because I've gone to every one the last 3 years.
And they all seem to be against the Blackhawks.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, I have ticket stubs for like 5 or 6 games straight. That was always the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and it was always hosting the Blackhawks for whatever reason. I think maybe once it was the Hurricanes, but usually it was the Hawks.
We're up to 3 entries now.
Nice.
And
did anybody go with the $1 bet?
Yes.
Love
of course,
it.
not intentionally, because everybody's guess is private, right? But
sure.
But yeah, there, and I'm not going to say who, but there are 2 of these guesses are very close, we'll say.
Ooh.
So it's going to be really interesting. And again, excuse me, we are doing this down to the second, So like if it's and again, I'm just throwing a number out there. If it's 99-12 and you come in with 99-13,
sucks to
I'm
be
sorry.
you.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Can't do nothing for you, man. Evidently, all of these games, if the Sharks website is to be believed, the next 4 games are NBCS California. None of them are that crappy ESPN BS. Okay.
We're up to 4 entries now.
We have 4. They're still coming in. Not yet.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
We're going to count all the entries.
Yes, every vote counts. Every entry will play. So, Sharks host the Senators, play in Seattle, host LA, and finish up on Sunday, yikes, against the Canucks, which means, so here's the you can look at this one of 2 ways. It's a Pucknologists takeover. So that means we're starting a little later than normal. We have to do a little bit of the after dark vibe. So on that part of it, you may be like, oh, that part sucks. But then conversely, you might be like, hey, we don't have to hear Puck Guy do the whole did somebody say Vancouver thing. It's really up to you how you want to play that.
I mean, we haven't ruled out me saying it, though.
This is true. We haven't ruled out me going back to an older show and just clipping out that little audio piece and putting it on the soundboard.
Yeah.
Things can happen.
I don't think anything's been ruled out.
Dude. So instead of our normal 7 p.m. start time, we'll be on immediately at the conclusion of Sharks versus Canucks next Sunday. So remember to check out the other post-game casts that are going to happen this week. We got Puck Guy, Ian, Landy, Dana, Mark, all of them going to be here doing something. Well, I don't know about Mark. Mark, where is that guy? Come on, buddy. We have to play New York at some point. Wait a minute. Didn't we just play New York and he wasn't on? No. So you can follow him at hockey_jerk. You can follow me at AJ_strong. Remember to leave your take in the comment section of this YouTube video if you were not able to join us live. And if you have any topics that you want Jerk and I to talk about, feel free to just drop them in the chat live because we'll chop it up. Or join us on Discord. Remember, he's the chief of chiefing over there at hockey_jerk, has your backstage pass to the Discord. Just letting you know. Remember to subscribe on YouTube, follow us on social media, and if you listen to the cast on something like Spotify or Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, whatever, help us out. Subscribe to that content, leave a review if possible, because we want to game that algorithm, baby, and try to boost it up. And you can find the links to all of our social media, podcast apps, and more in the included show notes. So, as always, find everything on tealtownusa.com. We have one item left that I don't believe we got to.
And that would be
Tweet of the week. I love me some John Tortorella. I hope you do too.
Torts, you guys give up the first goal. Just thoughts on your team's start here so far in the first 15-plus minutes.
We suck. We haven't forechecked. We haven't done anything as of right now.
What do you want to see differently?
Forecheck.
Thank you.
Okay.
I love Torts. Like, oh my God. Do you know the ludicrous sums of money I would be interested in spending if I could get a uncensored center ice package?
Oh, that would be great.
Dude, just kill the mics in the crowd unless they're relevant because something happens or whatever. But it's kill the broadcast. I don't want to hear the color commentary or any of that stuff. Just give me mics pointed on the ice and at the benches and in the boxes. Oh, dude, what does center ice cost? Was that a couple $100 or something?
Gee, I mean,
how would we know? We're too busy flying a pirate flag.
I was gonna say for reasons we can't get into, we don't know.
I mean, I bought it a few times.
But well, actually, you know what though? Because the NHL package has been built into ESPN Plus, so that would be what, $8 a month if you don't do the Disney bundle.
Really? Oh, okay. See, I remember back when it was like its own package, like Sunday Ticket.
They roll part of the new deal with Disney with the TV package was the NHL. The NHL package got rolled into ESPN Plus. It's actually like, no free ads or anything, but the Disney bundle is actually a really good deal. Like all things aside.
No, okay, I just remember though back when it was its own package. I think it was something along the lines of like maybe $150, $170, somewhere in there. Dude, I'd consider dropping about $250 for a package that it was literally here's every game, no color commentary, no play-by-play, just on ice mics. Oh my Lord! The just to hear the chirps, to hear some of the coaches just railing. Oh my Lord! And some of the back and forth with the officials. Oh, you'd love to see it. How much would you pay?
I think the key there
nothing.
is, the thing is, I would pay. That's the key, because currently we don't.
Can we edit that out, Steven? Clear that.
So I have a famous last word before we go,
Sure.
and it's more of a famous last question.
Ooh,
So we're talking about giveaways and all that kind of stuff, right?
yeah, give it away now.
So when I've gone to the, say the Sharks are in town and I go to the game here against the Golden Knights, I usually will go with my fiance. And, for some reason, it always ends up that the game we go to, there's a giveaway. I don't know if they like giving stuff away against the Sharks. But so the game in the preseason back in the end of September, there was a giveaway. It was like a really goofy, like gilded bust of Riley Smith. And so I'm wondering, like, as part of our giveaway, would it be offside to do a Golden Knights item in the giveaway package?
Oh man, when's the next time we face the Golden Knights? Are we already done? Because we played them twice already, right?
We get them. I think we get them one more time
March
in
30th.
each building.
Yeah, I see March 30th and February 16th. So, all right. Well, you know what? Maybe we have to save that, like, put it on the shelf or whatever, and then just put like February 16th, and maybe we'll have to do a specific After Dark giveaway or something.
Yeah, there you go. See if we can lure in some Golden Knights fans. Because that's the last thing that's the first thing they all want to do, right? Is listen to a Sharks podcast.
Well, I mean, I think if we turn this into we changed it from the Pucknologists to the Refs Suck, they'd all be in here.
Well, there you go.
Okay. So that'll do it. We thank you so much for watching and joining us. How we ended up at over 2 hours, I don't know, but it happens. But we do thank you for watching, listening, joining us live, or on the replays on your favorite podcast catcher. So we will see you next Sunday. It'll be right after Sharks Canucks, so a little later for those that join us live. Hope you have a fantastic week, and happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Catch you next Sunday.